What is going on? What is going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Julien Stoutt, licensed personal trainer, licensed PE teacher, world record powerlifter, special education teacher. We are live. So, what you got going on tonight? I have to play chauffeur tonight with the missus. So for me, I'm on here. Today was a very eventful day. Been really busy despite having a weather delay today. Very busy, very busy. Guys, you already know. Sometimes I'm a dog that when I see a bone, I latch onto it and I don't let go. However, you see the title in the thumbnail. I honestly was going to let this go. I honestly was going to walk away from this knowing what I said and standing on business 10 toes down. Only for this person to rear her head again and then further dig a hole in based on how I see her. Now, obesity is not an issue for me from an aesthetic perspective. That is not, I have never really had an issue with obesity from a visual perspective. I've grown up around obese women my whole life. Okay? However, one of the things that I can't stand is when people feel entitled to something merely because they feel it's so. Not because they've earned it, not because they worked hard for it, not because it is well deserved. And it all started with a mere reel of what I'm about to show you here shortly. The most frustrating part about all of this is that, the cognitive dissonance involved in what I'm about to show you is so enraging, it's not even funny. So, I'm only going to show you a portion of this on camera, right? And then the rest of it, I'm going to play for you via audio because I don't want to have any issues with copyright stuff. Because, in all honesty, I did communicate with the Breakfast Club, but I didn't get a response back in time for this show. So, I'm going to do what I have to do in order to make this work. All right? So, right now, I'm about to share my screen with you. Okay?
Good, this is the accommodation. Sure that? Yep. It's the only seat y'all got?
What you want? What you need?
A bigger chair or something.
Is she already little?
That's what I'm talking about. Good, this is the accommodation.
There you go.
Just pause it right there. Buckle up. Mind you, normal chair. I'm sitting in a normal chair right now. Okay? I want y'all to see this. I'm not The Rock. I'm 5'4", 155 pounds. I am literally 1/3 her size. Well, 2/3, 1/3 her size. I have room in this chair. This chair can support somebody that weighs in excess of 350 pounds. Okay? Now, if you remember back when I had my last episode, which was approximately a week ago, I specifically said that things are designed a certain way for a reason. And when I said that, I didn't get much pushback, and I'm good. I'm not tripping about that. But what I am going to say is you saw her sit in the chair. Chair didn't break. Chair didn't buckle. She's just uncomfortable. And now she's talking about accommodations, and your girl is now sitting in a sectional. In a sectional. That's what I'm talking about, accommodations. Okay? So I want you to...
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV.
So now, with that being said, you saw her. She took up half of the section of the sectional that they provided for her. She wants to be accommodated for. And what are we doing? We accommodated her. But I'm going to get into that later because I'm just going to let it go.
Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Laura Rosa hanging out with us as well. We got a special guest in the building. Who we got? We have Big Dank. Dank Demoss. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you, Big Dank? How you feeling today?
I'm good.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
You know, when we first heard about your story, you know, there was a lot of jokes made. Everybody made jokes, including us. But when I heard you was a rapper, I was like, you know, why not have her up here and have a conversation? See if this could, I don't know, help something.
I wasn't cracking
Make the
jokes.
most of the moment.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Where you from?
Detroit.
Detroit. Tell us about. Well, no, this is your question. Let me go ahead.
Well,
This is what you do. This is what you do.
For people that don't know, a lot of people, of course, you're from Detroit. You're a rapper from Detroit, so you're highly known in Detroit and a lot of different places. But you got publicized recently because of an incident that you had with Lyft, the Lyft driver. You ordered a Lyft, and you could tell.
Well, I don't want to go there. I just want to ask you. You always say for people who don't know who Big Dank is.
Yeah, but people will have to connect the dots. At AT&T, we know enough in life isn't guaranteed. Like a fun night at the movies. Yeah, no.
Let's mute that real quick.
Okay.
How long you been doing music, Dank? How long you been doing music?
I've been doing music for a long time. I took it seriously in 2016. So yeah.
And what got you into music?
My dad did music, and after he died, I just took it seriously.
For the record, her dad died of heart failure. In this show, she has readily admitted that her father was big and he died of a heart attack. Now, these are the concerns that I have specifically for morbidly obese people. If this was about functionality and physical attractiveness, hey, I already know there are guys that will run after a morbidly obese woman just as fast as they'll run behind a skinny woman, just as much as they will run behind a physically fit woman, just as much as they'll run behind a curvy woman. So if this is all about attraction, if this is all about sexual, what's the word I'm looking for? But sexual attraction, I got nothing to say. I got no comments, and I have no ill will towards her. Let her do her. However, the level of entitlement that I witnessed just a few minutes ago, literally, well, when I watched this originally, but the same image that I just watched a few minutes ago had me steamed from my ears, enraged. The nerve of you. You expect people to just drop and give you 50. For what? You haven't earned that right. I don't care if you're a famous rapper. I don't care if you were on the level of Busta Rhymes, 50 Cent, Eminem, Jay-Z. I don't care if you were on that level. You are outside you're outside 2 standard deviations of the norm. I'll get into that later, but let's get into it.
It was a rapper. Yeah.
And she's a good rapper.
I was.
How was that?
What?
Deb's
Deb's
house.
house.
How was that?
It was good. You know, it was a learning experience. Yeah, it was a learning experience. It was okay.
Did it help or hurt you in any way, like in music?
I mean, I'm doing the same thing I was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was okay.
You don't want to say
So you can't see her face. If you watched this interview already, or if you plan on watching this interview, you could align this video with it and you'll see what I'm talking about. She had a look of, I wouldn't say disdain on her face, but it was basically indifference on her face. She didn't want to say anything bad about Deb's house, who is Waka Flocka's mom, who apparently is a massive talent acquisition executive. She's got skills in finding talent, and she had some negative experiences on that show, and she doesn't want to say anything bad because she knows her business life will be cooked if she really said anything untowards about her experience on the show. So pay attention.
You don't want to shit on nobody.
It's cool.
You had the moments on there, and I saw
I
one clip where
did.
you were really teary-eyed. And
Yeah, I was
she
teary-eyed
tough, or was
because-
it like what was that about?
Well,
I feel like-
explain what Deb's house is. 'Cause
Yeah, so
people
Deb's House
don't know
is a
what
show where she brings Deb Annie, brings
Waka Flocka's mom.
Waka Flocka's mom.
Mhm.
You know, she's discovered some of the biggest and the best, Nicki Minaj, a bunch of people. But she brings the rap girls on and she tries to coach them through building their careers. And then at the end, there's one that she picks that she focuses on.
Mhm.
You didn't make it to the end, but you were on the show.
Yeah.
But one of the clips that I remember seeing going viral from you was when you were breaking down. You were really upset. Talk about that moment and just what the experience
So
was like.
I just felt like I was put in okay, so a lot of people said I was being difficult, but I feel like I was put in a difficult situation. I was in a store I could fit nothing, you know. So when I finally found something that I could fit, it was like, oh, that's not a boss. Take that off, you know. So I felt some type of way, you know. But yeah, I just feel like I was put in a difficult situation, and I was seeing everybody able to fit things, and you know, I'm getting frustrated because I can't find nothing. I don't want to make nobody mad. I want to, you know, look good and stuff like that. So that's why I started crying. I was
So what she's saying to you is that in that experience, she was at a location where they had to go find stuff to wear, and she couldn't find anything, and she says she was placed in a difficult situation. Now, here's the deal. Maybe they were trying to send a message. I don't know. I'm not even going to speak for them. Maybe they were trying to send a message, but what if it was already planned before even selecting you, that this is the route that they're going to go? So one of the things that you guys have to understand in most cases when it comes to shows, a lot of what they do is even reality shows have certain things sketched out well in advance before they even acquire talent. They have locations set, they have plans made of what the events are going to be, just so that way when they go through this competition, everything runs smoothly. There's no hiccups. They don't have to stop production because of a hiccup or a mishap. So they usually plan these things out well in advance. I don't know how far in advance, but I do know that they plan these things out well in advance. So therefore, what happens is you're placed in this situation, and they placed you in a difficult situation when the truth is that maybe, just maybe, it was innocent. I won't put it past them to create that drama, especially on a reality show. However, sometimes it's not what you think it is. And to have that reaction plays a whole nother level into the mindset of where you were during this competition.
A little frustrated.
You know, you walked in and, you know, you said the chair was too small, so we had to bring the part of the sectional for you to sit in. And you said something. You said, "Oh, this is what I'm talking about, accommodations, right?" Yes. But we live in a world that's not always going to be able to accommodate people.
But we should, though. We should, because we not all the same, you know?
We do, and we acknowledge that we're not all the same. We go 2 standard deviations outside of normal in order to accommodate people who don't look like everybody else. Again, I have no qualms about accommodations, right? But there's a certain point in time in a period in which where that accommodation is well beyond the scope of what is allowed within the facility that you are trying to either enter, utilize, or procure. I am a special education teacher. There are certain things that within a public school that can be accommodated for children with special needs. Not every child with special needs is 2 standard deviations below intelligence. Some of these children are 2 standard deviations above intelligence. They might lack something in regards to empathy, language, accessibility to their skills. There's always something that a special education child might have that prevents them from attaining the level of performance that is expected of them based on a disability that these children have. ADHD, can't sit still. So with ADHD, guess what that means? If you can't sit still, you can't sit down and focus. And because you can't sit and focus, if you're not accommodated for your ability to move around, if you could move around a little bit, you could get to work. But if you can't move, if you can't sit, if you have to sit still for hours on end, it drives your brain batty. How do I know? Because I have some semblance of ADHD. If not, I'm fully ADHD myself. I can't sit still. I have to move around, which is part of the reason why I'm a PE teacher. Because just sitting still all day doesn't work for me. I have to move around. I have to see different things. My brain will literally turn to mush if I sit still and just do one thing. But at the same time, there's only but so many things that I can juggle before I break down. And if I'm juggling 15 different things at the same time, I need to back off. I might be able to juggle 3. I might be able to juggle 4. Maybe even 5. But once we get into 10, 15, 20, some things are going to fall. And if I am not, quote unquote, accommodated for that, then prepare for bad things to happen. So, I'm all for accommodation, but when does accommodation go so far that you are now hurting the very place that you're patronizing? For instance, if a kid's behavior cannot be reasonably accommodated do they belong in that type of school? Can they operate in that type of school? If they are so hyperactive that they legitimately not only can't sit still, but they cannot move in a small space, that they have to be running, jumping, kicking, rolling, is that specific school okay for them to be in? Not suggesting that any child that runs around and does that cannot be accommodated. But if it's to the extreme where it is well beyond 2 standard deviations outside the norm of hyperactivity, which can be measured, by the way, is that reasonable to actually expect a school to accommodate that child when they're being more disruptive than even 2 teachers and a para can accommodate? Think about that for a minute. Again, I've asked this question on the last live stream. Why don't they make doors taller than 6'6" without it being customized? When you have generic doors, why is no generic door taller than 6'6"? Because anybody that's taller than 6'6" is well outside the realm of normal. More than 2 standard deviations. 6'4" is 2 standard deviations past past average. Okay, so when you weigh anywhere between 600, 500 pounds, you are so outside the scope of normal. How can you be accommodated reasonably?
I feel like we should. Like, why not? I feel like a lot of times people think that bigger people, obese, the F word people should just be in a house. When it's like, we not. Yeah, the F word. I'm not about
that you can't say in your house. Fat. You know, like.
Oh.
I'm not saying that word.
Yeah, we don't use that word in my house either.
I thought you were talking about the gays.
What's wrong with fat? That's what it's called. That is actually the scientific terminology for the organ that sits underneath your skin, adipose tissue, or fat. The nutrient that is stored in that tissue is also called fat. Why can't you call it fat? Now, I mean, if you're trying to be hateful with it, absolutely understand. But you can say obese. Obese can be just as derogatory as fat if you use it the wrong way. But what's wrong with that word? Let me guess. It is a word that affects your psyche, that affects your mind, because when you were young, you've heard that word so much it enraged you. I get it. I get it. But at the same time, it's the word. You are morbidly obese. Morbidly obese. Okay?
I'm like, wait, I'm confused.
No.
But I just feel like it should be accommodated. Bigger people should be accommodated, just like we accommodate the LGBT community.
First thing is, we do accommodate large people. We do accommodate even obese people. But again, there is a realm well outside the norm of what obesity actually is, for the most part, based on the average person who is obese. Realistically obese, mind you. And when I say realistically obese, I'm not talking about weight. I'm talking about, well, actually I am talking about weight, but it's actually body fat percentage. Anything over 35% is obese. Anything over 40% is morbidly obese, regardless of gender. You, ma'am, you weighing 500 pounds, well, 480 some odd pounds as of now, but you weighing 596, you weighing 538, you weighing 486 is well beyond the range of what is considered average in the realm of obesity. You're not even average obese. Ma'am, you are 5 feet tall, 500 pounds. You have 100 pounds by the foot. And right now you want to be accommodated. Talk to me nice. What? What? Are we kidding right now?
Those other communities, I just feel like.
And the LGBTQ community is not accommodated specifically. Because number one, your sexuality does not have to be seen. Nobody would know your sexuality if you dressed based on your gender. Now, I understand that people become transgendered, but again, reasonably speaking, I don't know if somebody's gay if they don't tell me if they're dressed like a dude. I have gay friends, I have gay colleagues, I have gay family. Well, not gay, but lesbian, actually. But that's not the point. I cannot tell who has a sexual affinity for the same sex if they are dressing like everybody else. The only way I could tell, and I don't have a problem with whether or not they dress that way or not. I'm just saying you cannot tell if somebody is queer, gay, straight, or whatever if we dressed according to our gender. I know for a fact that some of you out here are shocked to find out that person X is lesbian, person B is gay, person C is transgendered. When you find out, when it is exposed to the public, whether it be by their will or by others. You're like, that person? Wow, I didn't know. I had no idea. No idea. Doesn't change the fact that I like their music, doesn't change the fact that I like their movies, doesn't change the fact that I like their television programs. None of that. Just didn't know. Something unexpected went completely over my head. But you're making the assumption that LGBTQ people, LGBTQ plus people, are accommodated. What? To use the bathroom? I'm sorry. Gay men use the men's bathroom. Lesbian women use the women's bathroom. Transgendered people use the bathroom based on their reassignment. You're going to go to either a boys or a girls bathroom. Either way. Gender reassignment, you're still going to go to a boy or a girl bathroom. I'm not suggesting that we have separate bathrooms per se. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, at some point, we got to make a choice on which bathroom we're going to use. Whether or not they should be harassed for using that bathroom is a whole nother conversation that I'm not going to have right now. But ultimately, how are they accommodated other than that?
We outside. You know, if we inside is get up. Why you in a house? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. When we outside, it's like, why you not in the house?
Well, people would say,
okay, who actually told you that? Because, like, that's crazy. I don't believe that, F people should stay in the house. I mean,
that's how it is. We go outside and people looking at us crazy, like, we getting stared at. For what?
Wait, whoa. Okay. First and foremost, I've already said this a million times. People will look at something that catches their attention regardless of what it looks like. As long as it is outside the normal realm of understanding for people's eyesight and comprehension, they are going to react to it. This is why the supermodel exists, ma'am. This is exactly why the supermodel exists. I've done the supermodel test numerous times on this show. Numerous times. Only to prove that the standard of beauty of a supermodel is so astronomical that it is actually detrimental to try to seek for most people. The reason why the supermodel is so celebrated is because to achieve that level of physicality and attractiveness is very, very, very hard. Not suggesting that other women, or men for that matter, cannot be found attractive. The level of what they're working with is hard to come by. To be 6 feet tall as a man, to be over 6 feet tall as a man, to be in physical peak condition, abs, chest, arms, legs, not too big but not skinny. To be that and then visually attractive in the face is so hard. Is so hard to attain that it is literally astronomical to find that man. Same thing goes for women. It is too hard to try to attain that. The average woman is 5'4". The average supermodel is 5'8". Actually 5'9". The average supermodel is 5'9", if I'm not mistaken. Let me Google that real quick. As I said, the average height for a female runway model is through the range typically is 5'9" and a half, though the range is typically between 5'9" and 6 feet. For male models, the average height is 6'1", though the range is typically between 5'9" and 6'4". Understand that. 5'9". That's a whole 5 inches taller than the average female. 6 feet is only 3 inches taller than the average male. But actually it could go as high as 6'4", which is 5 inches taller than the average male. So even within the astronomical realm of being a supermodel, they still have a certain standard. But I digress. Let's keep going.
Because we big.
Not because you big.
You know, like.
Well, I mean, yeah, a little bit, but.
A lot of times.
But we don't care if you outside. I'm sorry, Jess. One last thing. My wife is clinically obese. I've said this a million times. You've seen her on camera. We ain't running. We ain't hiding. I know we get stares when we're walking together. My wife sees them. I've caught a couple people. I really don't. I'm oblivious for the most part to it on purpose, because if I catch somebody staring, male or female, it depends on why they're staring, honestly. Not that they're staring, because my wife is a very pretty woman. They might be looking at her for that reason. Despite her. her physical status. My wife is pretty. Now the question is, why are you staring? Are you judging us? Or are you judging her? If that's where you're going with it, you got a whole problem. And when I say judging, you think that I'm judging her right now. No, I'm not judging her based on her size in the sense of I don't want to see her. I don't want to hear her. I don't want to know her. That is a horrible place to be, and that's a horrible individual. That's a horrible human being if that's how you go about your life. So if you want to go about your life because you don't want to be around people who don't look like you or move like you specifically, then you need to stay in the house. My ultimate crusade about obesity is the morbidity of it, the degradation of your physicality of it. Literally nothing more. Anybody that knows me, really knows me, will tell you that. I could care less that you weigh 500 pounds. I could care less. Honestly. If it's not grinding your knees into powder, if it's not causing you physical and metabolic stress, hormonal stress, if it's not creating the atmosphere for your early demise, be you. Do you. You will never hear a word from me if that was not the issue. Because if you're just walking around looking like how you look, as long as you're presentable, and when I say presentable, you got some style to you, you look presentable, why would I have an issue with you being outside? Straight up. Why would I have it? You think I hide my wife? I mean, from a public standpoint, meaning always in the public eye and all that other stuff, I don't really do that too much. Although I enjoy spending time with her on camera, because my wife is not only a beautiful woman, but she's also very wise. And sometimes her opinions and her thoughts needs to be shared with the world, as well as her loving, endearing personality. I would love to share that with y'all sometimes. However, in terms of just like boom, boom, pow, boom, pow, boom, boom, pow. Now, if my wife is the one who takes off as a personality, then do your thing, boo-boo. I love you. Do your thing. I will be there to support you every step of the way. But as far as like me just putting her out there like that, no, absolutely not. I choose to put me out there. My wife sometimes wants to be on camera with me to do certain things, and that's fine. And I'm more than willing to do that, and I'm all for it. But on the flip side, I'll take my wife to a restaurant to eat, go to the movies if we want to, take a trip somewhere, spend time with friends and family, travel cities and travel the country, do stuff like that. I do that with my wife all the time. My wife is outside. My wife prefers not to be outside. But when we were younger, my wife was outside. And again, that's how I found her. Outside. So, and as a matter of fact, my wife was significantly larger when I met her 24 years ago. Okay? She was outside. And she commanded attention. Not only from me, but other men around me. So, Who has a problem with obese people being outside when 45% of the United States is obese? But there's levels. Ma'am, you are 3, 4, 5 standard deviations outside of normal. You really think nobody's going to stare at you? You really think nobody's going to see you and nobody's going to pay attention to? On top of that, you are you're 1 standard deviation shorter than the average woman. Maybe even 2 standard deviations shorter. You are, as a matter of fact, according to standards, you are approximately 4 inches away from being a dwarf. So not only are you standard deviations outside in one way, but you're standard deviations outside in another way. You are 5 feet tall. Dwarfism begins at 4'8" and drops. You are 4 inches away from being a dwarf. And you are also 4 standard deviations outside of normal. Maybe even 5. Considering that you weigh, right now, 486 pounds. I rounded up to 500. However, you have also, in this podcast, have admitted that you were 2 pounds from 600 pounds. And then, here's the joke. It's coming up soon.
Out of weight now, you know how it could be like some of the clothes that the F people wear, you know, with things hanging out and y'all, you know, try to wear things that the smart, like, the S people be wearing.
I don't live in a world where the skinny people, when the F people, that's not my reality. I am a human being. I am regular. Just because I'm outside.
No. Absolutely not. I understand what Jess is saying. That, you know, you got everything hanging out. That's not appropriate regardless of your size in our society. Did you see how everybody reacted to Kanye West's wife? She came out booty butt naked for the Grammys. Everybody was like, what is she doing? Everybody was like, what in the world is going on? What is she on right now? That she thought that she could come outside naked. Straight up naked. No type of... I can't even find the word for it. At least when Rihanna did it, Rihanna hid certain things a certain way. It was see-through, but at the same time, you could see things. Shorty literally came out naked with the most see-through cloth that you could actually make. I'm surprised it was cloth. She came out naked. And yes, Kanye West's wife is physically in a realm where most people would find her physically attractive. The average man would find Kanye West's wife physically attractive based on her shape and size. We ain't going to pretend like she's not. However, nobody was sitting back celebrating her performance because she left nothing to the imagination. And unfortunately, man, when you are 4 or 5 standard deviations outside of the norm, anytime you're exposing your body, you are exposing your body. In order for you to show your stomach like Aaliyah, there's going to be a lot more surface area exposed than what we would see on Aaliyah. It's not about whether or not even we find it cute or not. It has nothing to do with that, because some guys would find that to be cute. But it's a surface area so outside the norm that even when you might be attracted to it, you are going to have a visceral reaction. You're not regular. Regular is when you are within the standard deviation of what people look like. Men 200 pounds, women 170. Nobody will look twice at a woman who weighs 170 pounds and less. Shoot, even 180. Right? As a matter of fact, I'll even go as far as to say nobody even really bats an eyelash when they see a woman that weighs 200 pounds. Despite the astronomical beauty standards that we have set for women in this country and around the world. You're not regular. Watch your mouth. You're not regular.
Like I said, I've been doing this a long time. And when I said I've been doing this a long time, I've been putting on for people like me for a long time. I did a naked, excuse me. I did a naked photo shoot in 2017. Now all the big girls showing their stomach. They showing skin.
Ma'am, you had nothing to do with that. 2017, that was what, 5 years ago? You were 24 years old. You got booty butt naked and people saw it. They might have liked it. They might have been appalled. They might have been okay with it. They might have been indifferent. I don't know. I never saw it. So, that's neither here nor there. The problem is, you think that you have set a trend on that? Newsflash, obese women have been getting booty butt naked for a long time. Long time. Long before you were even thought of. Long before you were even thought of. At 29 years old, that would put you what? That's what? Assuming your birthday had already passed and you're 29, that would be what, 1995? Girl, please. Girl, please.
You know, the people wasn't doing it. We had porn stars doing it, but we didn't have regular people doing it. Now they doing it.
But wait a minute. Wait. Whoa. You had corn stars doing it, right? Regular people doing it? Didn't you say you got booty butt naked? So what do you think you is? I mean, you might not have been getting your cheeks clapped on camera, but when you expose your body, you are in that industry at that moment. Despite what you might believe. Especially if you got paid to do it. You think Playboy models are not corn stars? Make it make sense. I don't have a problem with you getting naked. If that's what you want to do, you do it. Do you. And especially if people paying you for it, do it. However, don't act like what you're doing is trendy.
Wear what I want to wear. I'm going to be cute with it too. You know?
I think part of it is like yourself, you're speaking up about it. A lot of bigger people don't speak up about it, right? Mac, who's one of the producers up here, was a lot bigger. He lost a lot of weight. But I didn't know all the problems that he had until he spoke about it, because it's just something that you don't think about it. Like he said he would get on a plane and it would be difficult, you know?
Yeah.
He said he would go to the gym. It would be difficult. But
so let me expound on the difficulties of getting on a plane when you're morbidly obese. Unfortunately, the plane is designed a specific way for a reason. They are trying to get as many people inside of a metal tube with wings to go 600 miles an hour fast enough, 600 miles an hour in order to generate lift, so that way they can forcefully push themselves into the air to get to another destination, so that way they can land safely for the most amount of profit that they can possibly get by doing so. Okay? Things are going to be cramped when they're trying to accomplish that. I already explained in my last video that you're not, for profitary reasons, they are designed that way for a reason. They're not doing it to make light of your situation. They're not doing it to be hateful. They're doing it for efficiency. This is science now. This is not about judgment. This is not about personal grudges and grievances and personal tastes and disdain. This is about efficiency. This is about, you don't hear men and women who are over 6'5" complaining to get on a plane. Either they're NBA players and they get rich enough to buy their own plane where they can actually fit into it, which usually they can't. They still have to duck down in their privatized jet. But when they sit down, because it's only them and a few others, they can create the leg room and the seating arrangements as they see fit. Does that make sense? NBA teams have private jets. Yes, when they go into the plane, they walk in, they duck down, they hunch over, they find their seat, and they spread out because now the plane is accommodating anywhere between 25 to 30 men and women who typically are well above 6 feet tall. So it's spacious for them. They only have to accommodate 25 people, 25 to 30 people, whereas a plane, a commercial airline, has to accommodate 300 people. This is not about you.
Those are things that we just don't think about because I think people don't ever make it a thing. So the fact that this incident happened puts it on people's minds so you can tell what you have to deal with because, you know, these...
I disagree with we don't think about it. We did think about it. That's why engineers created airplanes the way they did, to accommodate somebody that's 6'4", 300 pounds. Not extremely comfortably, but efficiently they can be seated. They thought about it. They broke it down. They looked at the math and figured out with 8 billion people in the world, how many people fit outside of this realm, and would it be financially more effective for us to accommodate all 8 billion of us or the mass majority of us that fits within these parameters? That is what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about, oh, this chick is mad fat. Gonna turn around and have to make her feel uncomfortable so that hopefully she gonna lose weight. We gonna make her lose some weight by making her feel as uncomfortable and horrible about herself as humanly possible. Nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody, most people ain't that diabolical. I'm sure there's somebody out there that may be that diabolical, but I assure you the majority of people are not thinking about how to make your life uncomfortable and or miserable.
One of the things that we don't have to do.
Again, the plane situation, that's not my reality. Anytime shout out to Southwest because they accommodate bigger people. If you need 2 seats, they're going to give it to you for free. If you pay for 2 seats, they're going to refund you.
Really?
I don't have that problem. Like,
Don't believe you. Let's see, extra C policy. let's read Southwest policy on this. So you don't believe me, I'm not going to sit here and read it and not. We have had a long-standing policy designed to meet the seating needs of customers who require more than one seat. No, any customer traveling on an itinerary that includes a partner carrier and who cannot be safely accommodated in a single seat will be required to purchase an additional non-refundable seat. You must contact the partner carrier to complete the purchase. Customers who encroach upon any part of the neighboring seat may proactively purchase the needed number of seats prior to travel to ensure the additional seat is available. The armrest is considered to be the definitive boundary between seats. You may review information about the width of the passenger seats. Southwest will refund the extra seat purchased upon request. After travel is complete, please request your refund. An additional seat purchased by a customer traveling on an itinerary that includes a partner carrier is non-refundable. The purchase of additional seats serves as a notification of special seating requests and helps us ensure that we can accommodate all customers on the flight. Most importantly, it ensures that all customers on board have access to safe and comfortable seating. Which means, what they're saying is, if you find yourself in a situation where you are encroaching your body dimensions, not your arm, not where you're leaning in one, your arm, your elbows are resting in the armrest, but if your circumference is actually exceeding the seat, the edge of the seat into the armrest, you are now encroaching on another individual's space. Now, if you happen to be sitting next to somebody that you know when you get on the plane and they choose to be uncomfortable to accommodate you, then they're not going to charge you. But if you have to sit next to somebody who is not of your traveling party, and then on top of all of that, you are making them uncomfortable, ma'am, you're going to have to purchase a seat. So here's what I'm going to guess, because this is where she's playing slick. This is where she's playing slick, y'all. I promise you, 9 times out of 10, she's traveling with someone considerably smaller than she is. Now remember, she's 5 feet tall and 500 pounds. She takes up a lot of space. But at the same time, she's short, so there's certain aspects of her dimensions that is not going to make it excessive, even though it is excessive in the sense that I'm sure she's encroaching on another person's seat. However, even so, she does not have to purchase another seat if she bought 2 seats and another person sitting next to her and they choose to be uncomfortable sitting next to her. I'm talking about physically uncomfortable, not personally uncomfortable. Because if that's what you're doing, by the way, if it's a personal uncomfortability because you're sitting next to an obese person, oh my God, grow up. Knock it off. But if we're talking about physically uncomfortable because you literally all in your seat, she all in your seat, her butt is all in your seat, and you pressed up against the other armrest while you're leaned up against another person in their armrest just to try to make her feel comfortable? No, boo-boo, you're going to have to buy this other seat. And then we'll make arrangements on how you're going to be seated so that way we all can be comfortable. But you just read the Southwest policy with me. She lying. Or she's manipulating the truth.
Even if
that's what I'm saying. We don't speak
even like last time I went to Delta, they said
Delta charge you.
You might need 2 seats, ma'am, but we're gonna let you get on this time. I never have a problem.
You might need 2 seats, but we're gonna let you get on. Either you on red eyes or you on late flights. And that's why you managed to get from point A to point B where you're not required to purchase another seat. You're getting lucky is what I'm suggesting.
my seating when I get on the plane. Like, I never have problems. Like, when I come into a room, I demand my respect, and I'm sweet. I'm a nice person, so I feel like people respect that. I respect you, you respect me.
If you're nice, and see, this is the thing. Again, when people, I can't stand when people who want to be treated differently than other people start talking this way, because I'm sweet, I'm nice, you respect me, I respect you. Yes. Nobody's going to sit here and disrespect you simply because you weigh 486 pounds. This is ridiculous. If people, I promise you, Dank, straight up, I'm telling you from the heart, if I were around you, don't know you from Adam, and if I saw you and I saw that people were trying to mistreat you merely because you were the size you are, you would have somebody standing right next to you talking crazy for you. That's not cool. My man, what are you doing? My girl, what you doing? Why are you talking to her like that? Why? Because she's bigger than you? You got the game all messed up. What are you doing? How dare you disrespect her like that? That's not right. Disrespectful conversation, disrespectful treatment. You will not get that from me, and you will not. I will not stand by and watch it happen, and think it was just going to be okay. So don't get crazy with that. That's wild. I'm not gonna take too much longer.
It's never an issue with me. Like, the issue be when like the staring or the judging or stuff like that. And then a lot of people will look at me and be like, "Oh, she eat, she do this, she do that all the time." That's not my reality either.
Now, this part I do believe her. I don't think she's sitting down. See, this is one of the, I've said this in other videos as well. I don't think everybody who's morbidly obese sits down and just tears down the house with food. That's not how it works. You might make bad choices about your food. You might be hormonally imbalanced. You might have medication that you're taking that's causing you to get this big. Okay? All of that might be true. So I don't look at somebody and judge them based on how they got this way. My question is, what are you doing about it? Are you trying to get healthy? And we're about to allude to that in a minute. But are you trying to get healthy? Clearly, she is trying to get healthy, because like I told you, her biggest weight was 598 pounds. She was 600 pounds. So going from 600 pounds to 489 or 486, hello, she must have been doing something. She had to have been doing something.
Like, I do eat, but I don't just sit down. I'm not 600 pound life. That's not my life.
Gotcha.
I think it's more so like coming from a health standpoint too. Dank, you feel me? Like, have you ever had anybody that like one of your friends maybe that try to get you, like, help you to lose weight, or or fear for your life, or like anything?
But do you want to?
Clearly.
Yes, I do. I really don't. Like,
want to lose weight?
No, I didn't say that.
Oh.
I really don't have friends for. I have like family and people that's been around me for a long time. Me and my cousins, we go to the gym. I got a gym at my house. I go to the gym. I got workout videos.
You also have your weight specialist here with you.
Yeah,
I heard you lost 80 pounds recently, right?
Yeah, I actually
congratulations.
did. But people be forgetting, like, when I was little, I wasn't skinny. My brothers are skinny. I grew up with two skinny brothers.
You mean like when you were younger?
Yes, I was never small. I was okay.
How much did you weigh when you came up? You remember?
When I did what?
Like when you came up
As a rapper.
No, as a baby. She was born.
Baby. I don't know, but I had a lot of baby fat on me. Like,
So here's the deal, right? This is where genetics kicks in, right? And this is where I'm not belaboring. I'm not jumping down her throat. I'm not acting a fool on this, honestly. This is not the personality talking. This is the professional talking. she might be a short, naturally large woman, but 600 pounds is excessive, regardless of how large you might be in your stature, in your best shape. So what I'm getting at is she might have been a little chunky little girl. Meaning she had a little meat on her bones even as a little girl. She didn't weigh like everybody else. She was not like most girls. But at the same time, she might not have been eating the healthiest either. She might not have been. I'm not suggesting that she sat here and just Jabba the Hutted food. You know, she wasn't just piling and shoveling food down her throat. She wasn't Slimer with it. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying to you is, maybe her food choices that were given to her over time did not help her condition any. I personally would love to see where Dank Demoss would be successfully in her weight loss journey at the end stage. I can't tell you how big she is naturally. I can't. At this point, it's well beyond my scope of practice to be able to assess her natural build. I mean, she's got broad shoulders. She's not I mean, even at 5 feet tall, she's wide in the shoulders. Okay? And I'm not being derogatory, and I'm not being disrespectful. I'm literally assessing her at her structure. Her shoulders are wide. She's like a tiny Lizzo, if that makes sense. Respectfully.
See some pictures I had baby fat, but I was really active.
I believe her.
I did plays, I did singing, and I did cheering, and I did.
I believe her.
I was just a big baby,
And see, I like big babies because like the skinny babies, they be a little too corporate for me.
Yeah, but sometimes it could be cute, but it's gonna stick on them, and it's gonna, it could stick on them. But
you always look like a baby when you chubby though, no matter how old you get.
True.
Yeah,
you have a baby face.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents they did all they could. Like my brothers was skinny. I grew up with skinny kids. Before my dad died, they kept me in the hospital for like a few months, and I actually did get down. I got down to almost 300 pounds. After my dad died, I gained 150 pounds plus more.
You was grieving, depression.
I believe it.
What was going on? I just know I was taking care of my mama and my brothers.
So
I was doing me. I was in the streets.
So let me break that down for y'all. She was 300 pounds at 5 feet tall. Still excessive. I don't know how much excessive, because again, I don't know how much of her is muscle versus fat. I know she's morbidly obese as of right now. It's visually evident, but I've never seen her at 300 pounds. So I can't definitively say how far out of the spectrum of understanding that she was. And when she later goes on and says her family owned a PT Cruiser, there's nothing.
Sure, everything's okay. Then one day I went to the doctor. But look though, you don't want to know what's crazy? I was 5'98". I said, oh no.
So like I said, she was 5'98", right? But I'm going to move on because I want to get to the part where her nutritionist, her health specialist, gets on camera with her. Because we're going to skip all the... Maybe let's go here real quick.
Heart attack is runs in his family, stuff like that. Blood issues run in our family, but I never, but thyroid.
They giving you.
So like she said, her thyroid, stuff like that. There's issues in the family, but those issues are not being addressed at this time.
It's a lot of trouble keeping weight down. Like a lot of, it's like a big thing for.
trying to get to that part. So let me get her specialist in here. Sorry about that. I hate these ads.
Myself, you know, and when I feel like it's getting too much, I try to fix it, you know, like at my pace, you know, but you know.
Yeah, we have weight specialists right here. Fix her weight specialist. Fix her mic.
And what's your name, ma'am?
Stormy Anderson.
Stormy Anderson.
Stormy gonna get it right.
Dr. Stormy.
Thank you.
One time, you know, when you have these conversations with plus size people, it always comes up that, oh, everybody that's big isn't unhealthy, and some people just can't lose the weight.
Everybody that is big isn't unhealthy. Just because you're big doesn't mean you're unhealthy. Your unhealthiness begins when your adipose tissue, i.e. fat, exceeds a certain percentage, because then you're messing up metabolically speaking. Your metabolic control over your body becomes crazy. And as a result, then it turns into a problem. But no, not everybody that's bigger than you is unhealthy.
What issues? Like, she has a thyroid. What do you talk to us about that?
So I been Dank provider for a little over 3 months, right? And she's lost 80 pounds. Mm-hmm. Your 80 pounds gonna look different from her 80 pounds, right? Mm-hmm. Because she started at 580. Mm-hmm. So even with her being at 500, people be like, she's still not losing, but that's not the case.
First of all, that's not true. You lose 80 pounds, you gonna know you lost 80 pounds. And everybody that knows you is gonna know you lost 80 pounds. You may not be in the realm of normal for people to quote unquote accept you, and they shouldn't. And when I say they shouldn't, they should not be disrespecting you. But in the process of all of that, that does not mean that you lost 80 pounds. That people are going to be like, you ain't doing anything. Number two, mind your business. In that sense, if she's going through her journey, again, this is why I'm not, have you not noticed? I am not talking about her appearance in the literal sense. I'm not talking about what she's wearing. I'm not talking about how she looks visagely wise. You notice I haven't talked about that, and I'm not going to, for a specific reason, because, and I'm not judging her based on her physical condition literally. I'm not sitting there saying she doesn't deserve respect and my admiration and love. What I'm saying is you don't deserve special treatment outside the special treatment that has already been provided based on the standard deviation of statistics outside the norm. You're not entitled to that. They've already made those accommodations already for you. You exceed those accommodations. When is enough enough? That's my issue with Miss Demoss. Nothing else. Nothing else at all. So that suggestion that just because she lost 80 pounds, yes, congratulations, you lost 80 pounds. Absolutely.
It makes it very difficult for her to lose weight because her hormones is unbalanced. So when your hormones is unbalanced and they're all over the place, it controls a lot of things, and it makes it very...
You know what also controls your hormones? What you're putting in your body. So if you are not nutritionally sound, if you are not in a position where you are, absorbing the proper nutrients, your body's metabolic system is going to go haywire. Your thyroid isn't going to know what the hell it's doing. And as a result, this is again, the professional talking. I'm on the same level as she is, if not greater. I don't even know. They said doctor, but I ain't seen no doctor in her title when they presented her. But here's the deal. When you find yourself in this position, you're metabolically haywire. What you need to do is start providing yourself with nutrients. flood your body with nutrients appropriately, not excessively, because you could actually die from overnutrient. Because if you provide yourself too much vitamins and minerals, you can actually die. Just as much as you can die as a result of a lack of those nutrients. Right? So, in her situation, her metabolic situation is out of whack because she has not regulated herself nutritionally. She needs multivitamins. She needs to be eating foods that will satiate her, as well as foods that will provide her the nutrients that she needs in order for her body to actively perform. Yes, she is going to need even more nutrients based on the amount of body fat she's carrying, because her body is not going to actively absorb it the right way because there's so much of it. I digress.
Difficult for you to lose weight, but keep it off as well. So I think for her, she's consistent because she done lost 80 pounds.
Right.
Yes.
But it's hard.
And what she's doing is for surgery.
I was going to ask you, do you suggest surgery?
So we're going to try surgery after she has to reach at least 300. Yeah. So that's our goal. 300, get her down to 300, and then she'll do her surgery.
That's what I always told Mac. I always told Mac I would get him the surgery, but he had to get to a certain weight. Yes. So once he gets down, if you want to get the surgery,
Yeah.
What surgery would you suggest? Is
so
it waist?
Either the sleeve.
The sleeve?
The gastric sleeve or the gastric bypass.
Now, can the sleeve bust? Sometimes you hear about the sleeve busting.
Yeah, there's complications with those too. So that's why we're just trying to find a more safe alternative routes. But we got to get her down a little bit because you don't want all that fat around her heart, right? And when she go into surgery.
Now, what is she doing to lose the weight? Like, what's the procedures? Break it down for us.
So she's on medical weight loss. She's on semaglutide, which is sort of like Ozempic, but with milder side effects. So she comes to our spot every week to get her injections, and then she's on our weight loss supplements.
At AT&T, we know enough.
Which we formulated with the pharmacist to help her with her multivitamin and just keeping her everyday nutrition going.
Once you get a man like to stress you out, you in Detroit, it's a lot of niggas out there that can stress you out. You want a man to cheat on you? Stress out about his weight.
I'm good. I'm focused. I'm straight. I'm good.
But look, so does she needs? I'm sorry, what's your name? Stormy, yeah. Does she absolutely need the surgery? I mean, I know some people.
Good question.
They work to lose weight, and then they figure since they already working out, they can just keep on working out. Like, she don't absolutely have to have the surgery, right? No, she don't have to have the surgery. I tell her when she
shout out to Jess Hilarious for that question.
How you feel? Yeah, because that's a big jump from 600 or 582 to 300 pounds. That's a whole nother half of a person. And she may not even want to do the surgery after a while. Exactly.
So I'm about to land this plane shortly, but absolutely, I'm a proponent of do the work, let it happen, be nutritionally responsible, have there is some variance of discipline involved, and clearly she has some, because to lose 80 pounds ain't easy. I don't care whether you're 280 pounds, whether you're 380 pounds or 480 pounds. Losing 80 pounds ain't easy for anybody to do. And for the simple fact, regardless of whether she's on an Ozempic variant, she's still, it ain't gonna just fall off just because she just took a shot. That's not how that works. You still got to be doing something to get smaller. Okay? So, and you have to be doing something consistently to get smaller. So, like I said, notice I did not say I don't believe you when she said I'm active. I didn't say that. Now, in my last video, I turned around and I said her behind is sitting down in a chair during a music video. That's a problem. Everybody else is active, they partying, you sitting in a folding chair in the middle of a video. It's not like you're sitting down at a restaurant table where everybody looks mobster style, and they on that round table and they all sitting with each other, and they got that pose. That's different. But you are in an active party video, and you are the only rapper sitting down during this thing. And when others were sitting down in a vehicle, mind you, they had you outside the car. That is what I pointed out. I didn't say that you weren't active or you couldn't be active or you can't possibly be trying to do anything physical or you can't be physical at all. Never suggested that. But what I suggested is that based on the things that I'm seeing, ain't no way you were allowed to do certain things a certain way regardless.
What are some things that anybody her size can do to lose weight healthily?
So you want to watch your carb intake. All your carbs turn into sugar, right? Of course, your sugar intake.
So
you want to increase your water. A lot of people don't drink water, and a lot
True.
of people got detox issues. They
True.
gut ain't healthy.
True.
So you got to get your gut healthy before you even try to lose weight because it's just sitting there. Them toxins just sitting there. So I think.
So I'm gonna land this plane now because number one, we're going on almost an hour and a half. Number two, we're belaboring the point. But in the video specifically, she turned around and said her family owned a PT Cruiser. And all of her dad, her mom, and her siblings got into this PT Cruiser and she was fine. She even suggested that she can get into Charlemagne the God's Prius. I would like to see the video, honestly. Comfortably. You ain't talking about getting in it. Anybody can get into it. And another point that they made that I want to turn around and address is with the Lyft driver that if it was 4 125-pound drunk women, he would have allowed them in the car. Here's the deal. It's not the suggestion of having 4 women in the back seat of your Mercedes. It is the suggestion of having 489 pounds concentrated in one seat. Your shocks are going to have some sort of, the weight distribution is not even. And even if you do try to sit in the middle, you are not going to be comfortable. Let's keep it a buck. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where we have to be honest. You are not entitled to these accommodations, man. You're not. They have already considered and appropriated those accommodations already. In the special education community, when we give standardized tests, the standardized test already made accommodations for children that need extended time and the ability to orally present things that did not require reading. Okay? It's already done. So as a result, you cannot complain that, oh, my child didn't get enough time. Man, the average child only takes 30 minutes to take this exam. You have a whole 55 minutes to take the exam. What's the problem? But what if the other kids take 55 minutes? Then they took 55 minutes. But on average, the average child has done between 25 to 35 minutes on this exam. Your child has a whole extra 20 minutes to finish this exam. Ma'am, your child, or in this case you, we provide you seat room and weight room and height room to be as tall as 6'5" and as heavy as 300 pounds. I think we did our job in allowing for people to not be the same and still be comfortable enough to travel from point A to point B. Why are you getting on us? Because you happen to be 180 pounds larger than what we can accommodate for. Why are you getting on us? Why are you getting on me? Why are you getting on society for not providing you with what you supposedly need because you let things get out of hand? Didn't say you ate crazy. You let things get out of hand because of your emotional state in the loss of your father. Why? Why are we allowing for people to make these demands and think that it's okay? And before anybody, and I want to point out one more thing. Before anybody turns around and gets on the fact that I'm talking about a black woman, let me explain something to you. We'll watch the other video. Because there's a white woman who was the one who was actually the one complaining about the planes. And I got on her just as bad, if not worse, to be honest with you. Because the young lady about the planes was talking about it's dehumanizing. Okay? I want you guys to understand fully where I'm coming from, because now this plane is about to land. You are not entitled to what you feel you're entitled to simply because you exist. There's certain things that can be accounted for based on circumstances beyond your control. Like, for instance, you deserve a hotel room if your plane had to be shut down due to not only weather, but also some unforeseen event, like your plane had some mechanical issues and there's not going to be another one available until tomorrow. My flight was at my connecting flight was at 12 o'clock. Had I got on my 12 o'clock flight, I would have been at my destination in a reasonable fashion where I would not have required to spend more money on a hotel room. Who's going to pay for that? I'm not paying for it. Especially if you're telling me I have to come back tomorrow. You're going to provide me a rental car and a hotel room, because that's what I'm going to need, unless you have a hotel near the airport that I could just take a shuttle to. That is when you should be entitled to something. You did everything that they asked you to do, and they still could not provide you with what you needed. That is when you're entitled to something. You did everything they asked you to do. Now you're entitled to it. Your job fired the majority of the staff. You're requiring more time to get things done. I think that should be accommodated, especially when your caseload or your responsibilities have doubled, if not tripled. You can't expect me to make a deadline for 3 weeks when you literally just put this in my lap right now, when the average person takes for a month and a half to get one of these contracts done, to get one of these production sets done. You're asking me to do the work of 3 people. Either pay me, talk to me nice, or give me the time to get it done. One of the 3. The other thing is, even morbidly obese people deserve love, admiration, and respect. This broadcast or this podcast was not to denigrate her and disrespect her. I I am simply enraged, upset, angry at the level of entitlement that I saw at the very beginning of this video, which was, I can't fit in the seat, so now you are expecting accommodations. If they have them, cool. But if they didn't, what were you going to do? Walk out? You going to not do the interview? That's on you. You know where you're at. You know what's up. Everybody else, from celebrities to, newsmakers, have sat in that chair. Far more important than you. And they sat in that chair. Are you feeling me now? They sat in that chair that you asked to be accommodated for. The Vice President of the United States sat in that chair. Former Vice President of the United States sat in that chair. You too good for that chair? No, you're too big for that chair. And let's be real. You could have been a little bit more gracious about it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to fit in this chair. Do y'all have anything bigger that I could fit in? Humbly speaking. You've basically killed your whole entire argument for suing Lyft. You killed it. By appearing on The Breakfast Club, you killed it, man. Guys, I appreciate you. That's my time. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Have a nice day. Be the best you. Class is Stoutt.